So we may be seated unless we are Jackie and Art, who we will invite up to the bima tonight.
So Jackie and Art, it is a wonderful thing that you are coming to this bima now because you are about to get married. And it fills us with such joy, and I would even say gratitude that the two of you have found each other. In Judaism, we call a perfect match like this that you've found your beshert. You've found the person to whom your soul is bound in love. And I'll also say that I love that you tonight are having this blessing as we come to the end of the book of Genesis. And in the Jewish tradition, what we do is we mark each week with a special Torah portion. And this week's Torah portion is called Vayechi, which means life. And in this way, then, what happens with your love is that you bring in great life. And I'll say that both of you have children from previous marriages who are extraordinary, and you have given them a renewed sense of life through your love, through your connection. And I'll also say that what's wonderful is that this is a time of blessings in our faith and in the two of you. You found each other, and here's part of what makes you so beshert, that it makes this such a perfect, beautiful love match, is that firstly, you are caregivers in your professions, that you are a family physician, and that you are someone who has, for your life's work, helped high school students find their way. When they're having so many problems, you're there for them as a counselor. More than that, you do that as your professions, but then you both volunteer so much in your lives. Jackie, for us, you started and continue to really steer the ship of our Feed the Hungry program. And that means that every month, and sometimes twice a month, there are a group of people who, without your leadership, wouldn't have a good meal on that day. Amazing that you do this. You also make sure that we have great connections with people all over our city. And you do this all with such love. You have taken through the congregation, taken trips to be able to both beautify and also bring your love to cities that are in need when they're vulnerable. And you then have helped to do that too, using your medical profession to help those who are vulnerable. And even though you've grown up as a Catholic, that you actually volunteer with the Oak Park Temple in their own program for being able to help people who are housing, who need help with housing. And so in this way then, you not only have each raised such magnificent children who benefit from your great love, but also you are helping all of us be better as people and better as communities through your love. Thank God you found each other. And so in this way, I want to invite everyone in the congregation to rise in body and spirit as we bring you up to the ark to receive the threefold benediction. And if you would, come all the way up here.
All 3 steps?
All 3 steps. And then we'll invite you to look out at the congregation, and I'll invite everyone, except for maybe your children, unless they want to put our arms up in blessing. And in this way, pray that the divine presence rests on you and also is known through you and through your love. We are grateful now to bless you with the threefold benediction. May God bless you and protect you.
Yair Adonai
May God's light shine upon you, glowing on you as you glow back into the world. And may God be gracious to you.
Shalom, shalom.
May you each and both of you feel lifted by God's presence, sense the presence of your loved ones who are still supporting you, not only here in person, but also in spirit. And may that bring you peace. And with that, we all say, Amen.
Amen.
Mazel tov.
Simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, simen tovu, mazel tovu, simen tovu. Yehelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, you can hit back, Art. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yehelanu, yehelanu. I like this new tradition. Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Art, you just started something new. I love that.
I like this.
Yes.
We may be seated. There's something so incredibly beautiful always when this bima is covered with sweetness. That physical sweetness, that metaphorical sweetness. It really reminds you of why we come together. Right? When I have to look down and make sure I'm not stepping on candy, it's a reminder of the beautiful things that happen in this community. We continue to sing about that joy and that love and the community. We're going to jump all the way to page 648. On page 648, in looks like the third one down, Shir Chadash. That one holds a really special place in my heart. We turn back to where we were on page 138. Should have given you all a warning to keep a finger there and be ready to go. But on 138, we find the words of Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride into our space as we have a metaphorical wedding here every single Friday night between the world and God, the world and Shabbat. We'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and then before the 9th verse, we'll rise and face the entrance as if we are welcoming in that Sabbath bride down the center aisle.
L'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. L'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. Shamor b'zachor b'ribor echad yishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila l'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. L'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki hi mekor ha'beracha ראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. l'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. l'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. l'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela. l'cha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat l'kabela.
Turn to page 146 for the words of Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam, 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 le'olam,
Let's pray together on page 149 in the middle of the page in the English. Reading together, this is an hour of change Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim, page 152. We may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושירנתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
As we prepare for the Micha Mocha on page 158, a poem by Charlie Tucker. If I were a bird, I would fly myself free. I would go far past infinity, into the distance of forever, and stay there for the rest of eternity. The wind between my feathers, the sun firing up my back, igniting my loosened soul. I would break my chained restraints and forget all of my problems, touching the clouds as I went. If I were a bird, I would use my wings and fly, just to know that freedom isn't a lie.
Lie, 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 kodesh, nora tehilot o seifele, nora tehilot o seifele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, v'kei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'amru.
We turn ahead to Yismechu, page 162 in the bottom of the page.
This makes me
I feel like I'm getting ready for it.
This makes me feel, like I'm in a basement somewhere with a bunch of Hasidim, and we're sitting around the table, and we're getting ready to you guys can bang on your prayer books or your knees, and just get ready to be really into it. This is a Hasidic version. Are you ready? Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, בקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו למלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת מקדשי שבי שבת כולם יסבעו ויתענגו בטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת בקוראי עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת בקוראי עונג שבת.
I feel very ready for the Amidah now. On the next page, 164, we rise for the Amidah, taking those steps closer into God's presence.
Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu V'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא הולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומעידו מלך, מלך ממית Yeshua, Ne'eman ata lahayot hakol.
ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
On the top of page 173, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Take a moment of silent prayer and meditation, each of us in our own way, and when you feel ready, you may be seated.
Oh, say shalom bimromah, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
Thank you, Eliza. And I'm excited that we'll be here as well. There's a real beautiful advantage to showing up really early on these Friday nights. You get this kind of solo concert as all of our musicians practice. And it's spectacular. You know, I've been sitting here with this little piece of technology on this podium, which has just had the word listen on it, staring at me. I'll tell you a little bit more about this thing a little bit later, but this whole service, there's just been this word listen. It's got me thinking about our role for healing. Just sitting with someone and listening is some of the best work of healing that we can do. Just being there. I was studying with someone the book of Job this morning, and noticing that in all of the difficulty that Job had, the thing that his friends did that was best for him was they sat with him. They said, I assume they said, "This sucks." Maybe they didn't have exactly that language. But sitting with someone in pain, in grief, in suffering is some of the best work that we can do to lend our healing. If there are those who you're thinking about on this Shabbat, in this new year, who are in need of that blessing of healing, as this prayer serves as a reminder for us to listen. If there are those you're thinking about, I invite you to share their name aloud as we'll see names that were submitted by our online community. And for them, we pray the words of Misha Berach, which can be found on page 371. That one? Great.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu, lest those in need are healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Sorry for springing that on you last minute.
And if you want a parting gift of candy, there's plenty around. I wonder if there's anyone here who has maybe a quote that they say so often, or so often like without thinking, that it's lost all connection to the movie or TV show or book or poem that it was originally from. That it's just part of our repertoire, and it just gets said, and we don't even realize we're quoting anything anymore. For example, one of them for me is one that makes me laugh every time. When someone says, for example, you might hear me quote Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother whenever someone says that something is awesome. Because what he says in the show is, yeah, Robin, she's more than awesome. She's quite a bit. A whole darn lot. It makes me laugh every time. Every time someone says, that's awesome, I just think in my head, quite a bit. Well, the word awesome, that's a weird word in general, right? It feels like it is somewhere between two words. Well, looking up some etymology, I got really interested in where it came from. In the 16th century, awesome meant full of awe. It generally referred to feelings of severe fear or dread. People in the 17th century who were saying that something was awesome did not necessarily mean, that's a thing of great beauty or great intrigue. Chances are they meant if something is awesome, then it's a thing that sends shivers down my spine. Later, in the 20th century, the word broadened to be what we know it today, to be impressive. But it left another word in its wake, awful. Awful is left meaning to inspire dread. So awesome is, that's fantastic, but awful is dread. This complicated nature of awe is also found in our sacred texts as well. The word yira in Hebrew, with its root yud aleph resh, means both to fear and to cause astonishment and awe. When Adam is in the Garden of Eden, he says to God, I was yira, afraid, because I was naked. At the burning bush, Moses hides his face because he was, as the text says, yira, afraid to look at God. In Leviticus, we are told not to insult a deaf person or place a stumbling block before the blind, because you shall yira, fear your God. But we also have many moments in our texts, especially in the writings and the prophets sections of Tanakh, that speak of yira Adonai, in this case, a reverence for God. More often, when we're speaking of awe, we are, in the words of Dr. Dacher Keltner, a psychologist at the University of California, Berkeley, that awe is the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your whole understanding of the world. It could be the birth of a child, a beautiful vista from the top of a mountain, the experience of being at a Lizzo concert, or even that rare moment of silence in a busy day. There was an article recently published in the New York Times by Hope Reese entitled, How a Bit of Awe Can Improve Your Health. Okay, I'm interested. In the article, he quotes the same Dr. Keltner's book saying, awe is critical to our well-being, just like joy, contentment, and love. His research suggests that awe has a tremendous health benefit that includes calming our nervous systems, triggering the release of oxytocin, and promotes trust and bonding. He goes on to argue that our bodies respond differently when we are experiencing awe than times when we're just experiencing joy, contentment, or fear, that awe has a very specific response that we get. It slows our heart rate. He even goes on to say that it relieves digestion and deepens breathing. Listen, I've been in many states of awe, I think maybe, where I deepen breathing, but relieving digestion, I don't know about that. Yet one of the most reliable ways to experience awe, Dr. Keltner found, was in the simple act of witnessing the goodness in others. When we see other people doing small gestures of goodness, like walking an older person across the street or helping those in need, we start feeling better and are also more likely to perform good deeds ourselves. Yet we don't always notice when others do those deeds, right? When we see someone do some of those big, beautiful, loving, consistent deeds like those that Jackie and Art, we talked about, you doing so much goodness in our world, we notice those things. But sometimes those small deeds get passed over. It's easy to notice something out of place, like, I don't know, maybe someone acting loudly or radically when you're on the L, but we pay less attention to the person who gives up their seat for someone in need. When we really notice, we see and internalize someone doing good in the world around us, we can carry that goodness wherever we go. We know it's physiologically changing us even a little bit. It follows us. It follows us off that train into our homes, into our communities. It might be for a short couple of minutes that we're holding on to it. Maybe we can make it really last, really carry it with us. In this week's Torah portion, Vayechi, Joseph's brothers promise that they will take Joseph's bones with them when they leave Egypt. They literally carry his blessing out of Egypt to the promised land. For those who physically carry Joseph's bones, it must have been such a feeling of a blessing. Right? Eventually, they're carrying these bones, and over 40 years, it's got to get heavy after a while. But that feeling of blessing has got to give them strength. They were carrying not only his bones, but his stories, his goodness, his blessings as they traversed the desert. In a time when it feels like there is so much broken, let's look for the good. Let's keep looking out for it, paying attention to it. Commit to focusing on it. Because when we experience that moment of awe when we see goodness in our world, let's choose to be amazed by it. Let's choose to sit in that feeling of awe. Let's let it change us. And then let's carry it with us as we give it to others as well. Shabbat Shalom. As we are in a new year, gearing our temple back up, gearing our spaces back up, our on-site maintenance team, headed by Cornelius Scruggs, has been doing so much work in this building, in this space, to continue to make this place, this physical place, better. And we have a lot of programs to show it off. If tomorrow, on Saturday the 7th at 1 p.m., those who are enjoying the gifts of life after 50 can join us online for Mindful Jewish Aging, led by Cantor Katzman and Deborah Paskind and Andy Simmons. They meet monthly to study, to schmooze, and to investigate the period of our lives of life after 50. So you could join us online for that. And then Wednesday, we have a very exciting moment. We've been doing a series this year on Israel, on encountering difficult conversations around Israel. And we're very excited that on Wednesday at 7 p.m., we are going to be hearing from Palestinian American changemaker Dima Zagal. She is an American, Palestinian American artist who's passionate about advocating for peaceful connections between Palestinians and Israelis. And she's going to be here talking about her work and the organization called Building Together. We're really excited to have that conversation. It's mixed presence. You could join us here. You could join us online. should be a spectacular conversation. And
Next week, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. On the beginning of our Sabbath, we are going to be featuring Sholom Justice and our 6th and 7th graders for our Shabbat Mishpacha. I'm also looking back here. It does say that at 5:30, there will be for children of all ages a catered dinner with a kosher option available for families. And then during the weekend, the Or Shalom High School retreat will be at Camp Osrui, Friday through Sunday. And I'm trying to
there's
think.
even another piece on next Friday.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It's our 6th and 7th grade Shabbat Mishpacha, but it is also the annual Sholom Justice Shabbat. And this year, for our Sholom Justice Shabbat, we're going to be welcoming members from Contextos. It is an organization that helps to share stories that illuminate, elevate voices, create proximity, challenge assumptions, build empathy, stimulate conversations. So we're going to be hearing from people all around Chicagoland, those who are living through some of those harder neighborhoods, some of those harder experiences throughout Chicago. So we can all get proximate, hear stories and share stories and build stories and community together. So this should be a really beautiful opportunity next week. And I want to actually make that announcement about this thing that says listen. If you are hard of hearing, have difficulty hearing, or just want to hear a little bit better, we now have a closed loop audio system that if you ever need, you can grab these at the back by the AV station back there. With Drake and Julian, who do all of our audiovisual work. Thank you guys so much. And they'll help you out to get you set up so you could have a direct listen to everything we're saying. You will really hear us. Well, we're gonna turn in our Sidurim back to page 586 for the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach as we rise and we're on the bottom of the page. Aleinu L'Shabeach
Ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, לגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we prepare for the mourner's Kaddish on page 598, we bring to mind those blessings that we're carrying with us, bringing that goodness that we hold of those loved ones who still sit with us each and every day in our minds, in our hearts, in our souls. As we're remembering Carolyn Katzy Gantz, Ronald Spielman, Susan Kaplansky, Alicia Pettigrew, Walter Hess, and those whose yahrzeits are observed in this week now ending, Doris Arnheim, Abe Baker, Katie Cutlip, Alan Deutsch, Harold Finkel, Leonard Fript, Lorraine Gard, Jeanette Hondequin, Jean-Pierre Gaskins, Abe Goldstein, Gladys Gradman, Jenny Grossfeld, Amy Moore Hagler, Shirley Carmel, Matilda Leon Jimenez, Julius Abraham Lessman, Lara Levitan, Sid Marks, Anita Royblatt Marks, Barbara Maber, Randy Milberg, Judith Miner, Henrietta Pessin, Doris Rosh, Sherilyn Rudd, Frida Rodoy, Rita Sacker, Bernita Saper, Jean Schomer, Leonard Schulman, Bernice Schulman, Rose Royblatt Shapiro, Myra M. Shavzin, Esther Schiff, Anna Siegel, Bruce Seiss, Ida Stillman, Jerome Stone, David A. Tuchel, David Unger, Pearl Weinstock, and Stephen Weiss. If we have names to add to our list of memory, I invite you to add them aloud. For all their blessings which we hold tight in this moment, we recite for them the words of Kaddish Yatom, page 598.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei ravav.
Amen.
Yalmad divrach pirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. V'agala v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabban v'barach le'olam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh.
V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Ta'amiran b'alma. Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom imromav. V'yaseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom imromav. V'yaseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
We may be seated. Before Cantor introduces our closing song, tonight's Oneg, so joining after Oneg literally means just happiness, but it's a time to gather, to build community, have some sweets together, is going to be back in Lakeshore Lobby, not in Bettyport Hall. We'll be in Lakeshore Lobby right afterwards, so we hope to get some good schmoozing in.
As I was growing up, I had a few cantors in my life that gave me opportunities to share prayer using my voice, and I was always grateful for those opportunities. And it's a joy for me to see those other generations coming forth. And so Eliza Lampert, I want to thank you because I did spring on you tonight. Last minute stuff, actually, when really what you've truly been doing is perhaps preparing for next week something special for your mother's birthday, a special duet together. So in honor of that, I just wanted to thank you for letting me throw something at you when we were really just rehearsing tonight. So thank you, Eliza, and for reminding me of the joys of L'Ador Vador. So let's just close together. We are back on page 647, 343 for some, but all together we're pretty awesome. Ozi v'zimratya v'yehi v'shua. Ozi v'zimratya v'yehi v'shua. Ozi v'zimratya
just one last time. Listen how pretty you sound. Oh.
On this Shabbat, may we feel that strength and might, and may we look for the good. Shabbat Shalom.